everybody, and welcome to our 13th edition of the School Improvement Services Podcast. My name is Gretchen Bruner, and I'm the Executive Director of School Improvement Services. With me again is Sean Aker, our Student Success Act Coordinator. And with us also today is Holly Dalton, who is our Senior Manager, who works in instruction, social emotional learning, teaching and learning, all things. Welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're going to start out today with some general updates on professional development from Sean.
Sounds great. Okay, so we've got our monthly mail campaign, our PD campaign coming out later this week. That's our goal, is to have it out by Thursday, and that will be updated with the correct links, correct times, better landing pages with correct information now that we've got our team back and they've been able to review some of the content. So we'll make sure that gets out here in the next couple of days. There is a strategic change we're making, or an adjustment we're making, to the Student Success Network. So last year we started with multiple opportunities for teams to come to work on 9th grade on track, chronic absenteeism reduction for Everyday Matters, and then we had these ideas about bringing mental health and behavior folks, those school-based mental health folks, school social workers, counselors, bringing them to the table to tackle some things. We've done some work with early learning and bringing folks together. We've found that we need to make some adjustments so that we can serve the needs in the best way possible. And two of the major priorities that come up are chronic absenteeism reduction and 9th grade on track, and that one's called out in all of the high school success plans. Every high school has to have a 9th grade on track team. And last year, we spent a lot of time really building up the presentations and really preparing for these big events. And this year, instead of us doing so much of that build-up and planning ahead of time, we're looking to partner with Attendance Works for chronic absenteeism reduction and Everyday Matters support. And we're looking to partner with the Center for High School Success, Stand for Children, and supporting their 9th grade on track teams. And they, prior to the pandemic, had a very large footprint, I should say, not foothold, but footprint in the region, working with many high schools and supporting their 9th grade on track teams. So the emphasis is that when we bring these really expert groups together, the people in the field that are doing the work, these organizations that have foundational knowledge, research-backed and evidence-backed practices, then we can be co-learners and we can help with the follow-up, that's really where our emphasis is this year, is really getting out in the field, supporting our attendance teams, supporting our 9th grade on track teams, and being thought partners, helping to support that continuous improvement process that we'll go through. So as we're finalizing what those contracts look like and getting those dates, you can expect to see those. It'll be a couple weeks, and so you can probably expect that in the next probably on its own campaign coming out to our audience. So other than that, I've got the list of our priority professional development. This is a rather condensed list. It just takes us through September, and so you've got supports for Connect Oregon, which is actually, that happened today, so after this podcast airs. But then we've got School Counselor Mental Health Providers Job Alike happening on September 13th, Science Curriculum Adoption Kickoff, and Holly's going to talk to us just a little bit about that later on in the podcast. That's on September 20th. Question, Persuade, Refer, the QPR training, that's a regional training on September 22nd. School-based crisis response for administrators on the 26th, September 26th. Creating classroom ethos for science, and I might lean on Holly to elevate that a little bit more later in the podcast. That's happening on the 26th. And then Youth Safe. And so several of these are happening with support from Nathan
Shea.
Thank you, Nathan Shea. That was a test. Congratulations, you both passed.
Our school safety and prevention specialist.
Yeah, Nathan Shea in collaboration with the school safety team and other members. So those are the priority professional learning opportunities coming up in the next month. There are others, and so always reach out to Gretchen or myself, or we'll put Holly's contact in there too. But reach out if you are looking for something more specific or something different. So Gretchen, I'm going to turn it back to you for some of the ODE updates.
All right. I have just a few today. An email came out that was super handy on the enacted legislation from this last round. So there's an update on that with some key specifics for your district. So check your email for that. It's also linked within our notes. The assessment and accountability update came as well. There will be a webinar around the centralized reporting system on October 5th at 9 a.m. that can help with some focus on retrieving some data for you. Should be helpful. And then don't forget, your district testing coordinators needed to be trained, and there's multiple dates available coming up. And so that's also in that report. Another notice that came through around ODE sexuality education. There's actually a current survey of the standards that are coming out, so take some time to give some feedback as they're finalizing and putting those together. And then finally, as far as the SIP budget narrative, it is going to be due November 1st. Prerequisites are due on October 1st. So the actual plan, the SIP, right, which is in your integrated planning and all of that piece. ESEA statement of assurances, your ESEA school prayer, certificate of compliance, contact information, and consolidated spending. Those are some of the prerequisites that are due. And then also a reminder that you need to spend down any previous year's budgets by September 30th. So those are just a few of those updates that from ODE currently.
Thanks. I appreciate these dates are always good, having those hard dates and reminders in there. I think last podcast I mentioned about the SIP, and I think I might have mentioned the wrong date, which was in October, and so thanks for clarifying. November 1.
There is quite a bit due in October, so all those prerequisites are due, so
yeah. Okay.
You were still here. You were fine.
Okay.
All right. Now it's time for the good stuff.
Yeah. The better stuff, right? We've made it. I mean, it's all good, but this is better. I like the shift. Yeah. So Holly Dalton is the Senior Manager of Social Emotional Learning and Instruction. And so her title's been that the whole time she's been with us, although probably in the last couple of years until this year, she's had a real, maybe more of a specific focus in social emotional learning. And this year it's broadened because we know that social emotional learning is embedded in instruction. And so really she's taken on, she's always had a passion for instruction, assessment, early learning, early literacy, all of these things, and being able to oversee this portion of the technical assistance program. I mean, just it's in her wheelhouse. She's got a great team surrounding all of us, supporting the districts. So, yeah, Holly, I don't know if you want to introduce, I guess I said a lot, but do you want to add any more?
A lot, but I'm super excited about supporting instruction. As you said, it is a passion of mine, always has been. So
awesome.
Just wanted to say that.
Okay. So cool. So maybe just give us what kind of falls under your purview? Like, what are the different projects that you're overseeing? Just kind of a overshot.
Yeah. So one of the projects is curriculum and instruction. So curriculum adoption. We have science this year that we're starting. You talked about building a classroom ethos. That's really a mouthful to say. Yeah. Looking at embedding science best practices by doing science. We all know that science is important. However, in elementary school, we tend to focus on reading about science instead of that hands-on approach. So this will really do hands-on approach K-12, so learning about science, and then also focusing on the next generation science standards and the shifts that have come. So really an exciting opportunity for folks to attend.
So just to clarify, the science ethos is about doing science, and that's what that training's about. And you mentioned the curriculum adoption, which this year the focus is on science, and so the visioning process and everything that goes through the curriculum adoption. So two different supports that are around science.
Correct.
Okay, great. And then what other things in terms of the high-level projects? I know English language learners, that falls under your purview.
English language learners is another one. So just had a few districts reach out to help with their planning and implementation of school-wide English learners, English learning. In addition, that early literacy is going to be big in our region. So currently collecting information about what supports people might need or want so that we can tailor our approach. We have a lot of our districts who are involved in letters thus far. which is the science, focuses on the science of reading. We know that not every district is able to partake in that because it's a 2-year commitment. So we are planning supports around the science of reading that is more workshop based, where people can attend for a day or a half day. And then also the team is ready to support with those pieces for consultation or technical assistance, district specific.
Awesome. And I think, did I hear us at some point talking about some of our supports trying to get some of our opportunities for learning here at the Marion Center and at the Yamhill Center? Is that?
Could be a possibility.
Could be a possibility. Okay. We'll look at that because we know that for folks up there,
Yeah.
Yamhill and McMinnville, even Amity, they drive a long way. Newburgh, they drive a long way to get to the Marion Center in Salem. And so I know that we'll see where that lands.
I think anything's a possibility.
Yeah. Pay attention for that in the monthly updates, right?
And then
the location.
Another area which we're pleased to support is our Native American Alaskan Indian students. And then we started that in the spring of last year with our tribal history, shared history, where we had our 2 tribes, Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Siletz tribe, come share their part of their history and their story and help us unpack that. And we have just hired a Native American Alaskan Indian liaison, and she is going to help connect the tribes and districts together and focus on the supports that our tribal students need.
That's awesome. So awesome. So that was very broad. I mean, what in terms of social emotional learning and the self framework, what can districts, like, can you maybe give us there's a state requirement, a state mandate, and what types of supports are folks going to be seeing from the WESD?
Yes, there is a state mandate. So the ODE released their transformative SEL framework and standards, and so the mandate is that it will be implemented by the fall of 2024. So this year we are excited to help our districts prepare for that implementation. We are planning some workshops around that as well, and then offering consultation and coaching around the implementation of embedding social emotional learning throughout the day, K-12. So we're excited about that as well.
That's awesome. I had to look up the numbers at some point on a share recently, and it was 9 districts, 39 educators were trained for 3 days last year, which is phenomenal. And they came out with actual products that they can go back and support their districts. So that was amazing work by the folks on our team, Jerry Zhang and others that that are just doing some great work. And so
we have an amazing team.
We do. We really, really do. We're very, very lucky. So thanks for sharing that. And then instruction, we mentioned some of those things about instruction. Maybe give us a little bit more detail, like science adoption, this year. What are some things that they can expect to see from our team outside of, or maybe describe more the curriculum adoption support or those things that we have laid out in a little bit more detail?
So one of the things that we're focusing on is helping districts with their vision. So setting their vision about what they're trying to achieve first before they actually adopt a curriculum, because you need to set that target about what your students need, what your district needs, and then look at materials that would fill that need. So that's one of the things that we hope to accomplish. We also will have a caravan, so that will happen again, and then also districts can come here to look at those materials as well, so
Great.
Supporting those.
Have we started collecting those yet, or do we still have the math curriculum in our library?
We have math and we have language arts in our library too.
Great.
So,
and language arts is kind of cycling out right now, and we'll be replacing that with math or with science.
With science.
Yeah. Okay. And how do people schedule time?
That's a great thought. It's putting me on the spot right now.
Like, did it reach out to you, or I can't remember if we have a link?
I don't think we have a link
Okay,
right
okay.
now, but
That's
they
all
can
right.
reach out to me
Okay.
or Jerry Zhang to schedule a time.
Okay. I feel like I've asked all the questions. I mean, I've just.
Well, I have another one actually that is I am gonna put you on the spot. What are you most excited about for this year? New school year, new start, right? People coming back.
I am most excited about actually having our districts help us create a vision for instruction at the WESD. I feel like that is something that's been missing, and that will help tie things together, so our districts don't see things as separate, and what is the through line for those things and where are we headed, and then we can use that to help us funnel whatever we do through that lens. So that, I think, is what I'm most excited about.
That's exciting to me too. It's that type of, not just organization, but that type of visioning and putting all the pieces together. And because, a classroom's like a puzzle piece. There's all the pieces that come in to make it a whole, right? And taking a look at that, I'm super excited for that as well.
Yeah. And, excuse me, I don't know why I started coughing, but so I know that, I think I might have turned my mic down a little too much there. All right, so I know that you and I have spoken about the Willamette School Improvement Leaders meeting. And we haven't gotten into all the details yet, and we're a few weeks away from our next one. And part of our audience, the group of our audience, I think we have 40 members that are listed on the Willamette School Improvement Leaders group that are outside of the agency. Some districts have a couple points of contact or three, and I think Holly's going to have a lot more of a presence at those meetings.
Oh, is this not being recorded?
No, this is being recorded. Yeah. No,
P.S. You're going to have more of a presence at those meetings.
No, we've spoken about it a little bit. Yeah. So I just, for the folks that are listening, I think expect that, because what Holly's talking about with visioning and doing it with the region, we want everybody to have a voice at the table. There's a subgroup that's doing some work on this, but the work of the subgroup is going to be brought back to the committee, and we're going to have some more robust conversations around that, because the number one impact on students is teacher practice, right? And so we want to make sure that we're meeting our district leaders' needs in terms of identifying what their teachers need, and then we can offer the best service possible. So
it'll be a great space for some rich discussion, because the sizes of the districts and the needs of the districts vary so much that I think it's the unique place where they come together and they can talk about really what's going on. And bring in some of their staff members who may not always attend those meetings, but to be there for those conversations to really drive the work forward more regionally. So that'll be exciting. That whole planning and visioning.
Yeah.
It's what I love.
Do you have any first thoughts about the next WSI meeting?
I think by the next WSI meeting, we should have had that first visioning process meeting under our belt, so that we might have something to share with the rest at that time. So
awesome.
And I know that our districts are looking forward to, like Gretchen said, talking with like-sized districts about those unique challenges and needs.
All right. Well,
That's
thank you
great.
so much
thank you
for
so
being
much.
a part of this today.
Yeah.
We appreciate it, and we're excited for the year to come. And so if you have questions or you want to know more about what's happening as far as instruction, teaching and learning, social emotional learning, Holly's contact information will be there, and ours is as well. And thank you for joining us again. We appreciate having you here on what is our series of, I was going to say our series of unfortunate events, our series of random podcasts, right? Yeah,
Push the button.
Yeah, our series of podcasts. So, and we'll see you for the next one. As any time, if you need anything or if you have any suggestions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.